Hello, I'm Elizabeth Thompson. I am the Senior Regional Director of Memory Care, and we are going to talk today about normal aging versus dementia. So, this is something that's on a lot of people's minds as we age, memory changes. What's normal, what's not, and how can we tell the difference between typical aging and signs of dementia? Forgetfulness is a normal part of aging for many of us. Just because you forget a name now and then doesn't mean that you're getting dementia. Just because you are looking for your sunglasses and they're on top of your head doesn't mean that you have dementia. You're looking for your phone and you're on it doesn't mean you have dementia. So, what happens with normal aging? With normal aging, we have mild forgetfulness. Sometimes we're slower to recall names or even words. Sometimes we misplace things occasionally. And it may take us a little bit longer to learn something new, whether it be a new program on a computer or how to use a new phone. Those things may take us a little bit longer than the teenagers. That's part of normal aging. Changes in our thinking speed is also something that happens. We process information a little bit slower as we age, and that's very normal. We may need more time to make decisions, and that is part of normal aging. So, even with these changes, people with normal aging can still manage their day to day lives and keep their independence. Dementia is not a normal part of aging. It's a medical condition that affects memory, thinking, and the ability to carry out daily activities. So it's really going to disrupt your daily life. I like to think of dementia as an umbrella term. And under that umbrella fall many different types of dementia. This umbrella, it's not the same as cancer, but if we say someone has cancer, we don't know, do they have colon cancer, breast cancer, lung cancer? And it's the same for dementia. If someone has dementia, what type of dementia do they have? We're most commonly hearing about Alzheimer's disease, but vascular dementia, Lewy body dementia, frontotemporal dementia. You can actually have mixed dementia where you can have more than one type of dementia. There's over 124 different types of dementia. But dementia is that umbrella term that means a loss of memory or other thinking abilities that are severe enough to interfere with your day-to-day life. So, what are some of the key symptoms of dementia? Again, memory loss that disrupts daily life, difficulty with familiar tasks. So, maybe you have baked cinnamon rolls 1,000 times in your lifetime, but you're having a hard time figuring out what step is next. Confusion about time or place. That's very common. Trouble with language or finding the right word. And sometimes we call that word salad, where we're saying words that don't maybe make a lot of sense, but because we can't find the word that we're really trying to say. Changes in mood and behavior and personality are also very common symptoms with an onset diagnosis of dementia. So, normal aging versus dementia. So, it's normal to forget names or where we put things. I like to think about the time that I am in the grocery store frequently and I know that person, but I cannot think of their name for the life of me. And sometimes it's after I'm already home that I remember it. That is common and that's normal aging. But when you have trouble remembering familiar names and places of people that you know very well, if you're forgetting the name of your husband or your spouse, or remembering where Walmart is, if you've gone there every day or once a week for the last 10 years and you can't find Walmart anymore and you're getting lost, those are signs of dementia. We talked about putting your cell phone, having it in your hand and looking for it, or your sunglasses on your head and looking for them. That's normal. But if we start putting maybe our sunglasses or our cell phone in the freezer or in the trash or in the microwave, those are more signs of dementia. Disorientation, forgetting why you entered a room or what day it is. Oh my goodness, I hope that's not dementia because I do that all the time. I have to backtrack. I walk into a room and I'm like, I came in here for something. What was it? So I'll go back to my bedroom and then walk back into the kitchen and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it was. That's normal. But forgetting where you are and getting lost and not knowing how to get home or the time or even what year it is, that is a possible dementia indicator. Challenged by mental task, missing a monthly payment. That's normal. Sometimes we just have so much going on in our lives, whether it's stress of a new move, which if you've just moved into a new senior living, a new place, that stress alone can cause us to have challenges with our memory. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's dementia. But if you're struggling to handle finances and pay bills regularly, that's when we look at a possible dementia indicator. Trouble using words. Sometimes we'll struggle for the right word. I know that I do that frequently. But when we have a hard time following a conversation or completing our sentences, then we need to think maybe something more is going on. Poor judgment. I can say I make bad decisions sometimes. I think we all do. And that's okay. And that's part of normal aging. That's part of life, I think. But if we're having poor judgment or making poor decisions often, that's when we need to investigate a little deeper, especially if we're not aware of where we are and what we're doing. And we've kind of like lost that filter. So maybe I'm in a public setting and I'm saying things that I'm maybe thinking, but I probably shouldn't say out loud in public. When I've lost that ability to realize that, that's inappropriate to say in public, then we need to look at what's going on. Mood or behavior changes. We all go through times where we feel low or anxious, depending on what's going on in our lives, and that's very normal. But being unusually sad, anxious, or scared, or even paranoid, paranoid that someone's stealing all my things, paranoid that there's somebody's trying to poison me, then we're looking at more of a possible dementia symptom. So when should you see a doctor? If you are noticing frequent memory loss issues, if you're having problems managing your finances or your medications, you're forgetting medications, and I will say too, when we talk about medications for the last, I would say 3 years probably, I take so many vitamins. And I am such a busy person that I have to put them in a pill box organizer. Otherwise, I forget if I've taken them. But if you're having serious issues and taking medications multiple times a day or not taking them at all, that's a serious thing. And you definitely need to talk to your doctor about it. If you find yourself getting lost in familiar places, maybe you've gone to the same church for 30 years and all of a sudden you're finding yourself getting lost. You don't know where the bathroom is. You don't know where the chapel is. Those kind of things are definitely a red flag for you to go and see your doctor. This is the tough one when families or friends express concern. We don't always want to listen to our families and friends when they have something that is not so positive to say, but it's so important that we do listen. Sometimes other people will notice things before we do. Early diagnosis doesn't mean that there is a cure, because there is not a cure for dementia. At this point in time, there are medications that can help slow the progression, but we don't have a cure. Doesn't mean we won't ever have one, because I'm very hopeful. But we can, by seeing a doctor and addressing these issues, we can slow down that progression of it with medication and lifestyle changes. Um, One thing that is so important is that um, we address when we're having health issues. And sometimes we put ourselves last on the list. We're taking care of other people, but we've got to take care of ourselves first because we can't pour from an empty cup. So if you're seeing these changes, if someone brings these changes up to you, don't take it as a negative thing. Take it as a positive thing to go and talk to your doctor. There are also a lot of other things that it could be. There are vitamin deficiencies, infections that go through your body that can also cause some of the symptoms of dementia. So we would want to rule that out first. And so it's not always a definite diagnosis of dementia. It could be something else, but we definitely need to look into it and get it checked out. So, what can you do for brain health? Well, believe it or not, being socially active is huge for your brain. So, getting involved in those outings where people are getting together and going on scenic drives or going out together and having fun, those candlelight dinners that we have in our communities, and when we have musicians come and play for us. Those are amazing things for your brain. We don't think about having friendships and being socially active as something that's healthy for our brain, but it actually is. Also, keeping your body moving. Even if you're in a wheelchair or utilizing a walker, there are lots of exercises that you can do while you're sitting, even if it's just marching in place, moving your arms. But physical activity is good for your brain. We talk about how a car, if we have a car, we have to maintain it, right? We have to do oil changes. We have to rotate the tires. We do put a wax on it every now and then. We're great at taking care of our cars, but we're not that great at taking care of our brains. So all of these things that we're talking about today are very important to keep your brain healthy. It's like an oil change and tire rotation or new tires for your brain. Challenge your brain, crossword puzzles, learning something new. Maybe you want to try to learn a new language or learn sign language. All of those things are just fueling your brain and keeping it active. You might have heard the phrase, use it or lose it. And that is so true. And there's so many different parts of our brain that we need to exercise. So being socially active, keeping our bodies active, challenging our brain in new ways, but also eating well and sleeping well. So my husband recently was diagnosed with sleep apnea. God love him. He was snoring so loud that I just thought, I'm never going to be able to sleep. I'm going to have to sleep in a different bedroom. And one night in the middle of the night, he was snoring loud and he just stopped. And I'm like pushing him, going, wake up, wake up. So he went to the doctor. He has sleep apnea. Well, sleep apnea is something that can lead to dementia if we don't take care of it because it's a lack of oxygen to the brain. So using that sleep machine is crucial to keeping your brain healthy, making sure you're getting enough sleep at night. We really need to get at least 7 hours of sleep every night, if not more. So sleeping is very important. Limit your caffeine intake later in the day so that you can sleep well. Try some gentle stretching before you go to bed just to kind of relax, meditation. All of those things are going to help you relax more for bedtime. Make sure that the lights are out. Don't sleep with your TV on because you're not going to get as good of sleep doing that. As far as eating well, we all know that sugar is so bad for us for so many ways, for so many reasons, but cutting out some of those foods that are bad for us, whether it be fried foods or heavy sugar, lots of carbohydrates, that is not feeding our brain in a healthy way. So just like some of those things are bad for our physical bodies, they're also bad for our brains. So we need to make sure that we're eating lots of fruits and vegetables, that we're staying hydrated. I used to tell my kids before they would take a test, eat some peanut butter and drink a big glass of water, because our brains need that hydration. And when we are the slightest bit dehydrated, whether we have dementia or not, we're not functioning at our peak cognitive level because of dehydration. So hydration is very, very important, not just to prevent UTIs, but also to keep our brain going. Managing chronic conditions, whether it's sleep apnea or diabetes or COPD, high cholesterol, all of those things need to be in check. We need to make sure that we are going to the doctor every year and we're getting our blood work done. And if there are issues, that we're addressing them. The worst thing that we can do for our brains is ignore chronic health conditions. So if my husband ignored, I couldn't have ignored the snoring, but if he ignored the fact that I had told him, hey, you're not breathing right at night, eventually that could have led to dementia because of a lack of oxygen to the brain. Same with diabetes. If our diabetes isn't under control and we're not monitoring that and keeping that in check, that can be hard on our brains as well. So any chronic conditions that you may have, it's very important that we're managing those, that we are staying on top of them with our doctor. So age brings changes, yes, but with knowledge and awareness, we can face them with confidence and grace. So here's some helpful information. The Alzheimer's helpline is always available 24/7, 365. There is always someone there to talk to. There are also a couple of websites here, alzheimers.org, tipasnow.com, caregiver.org, and enhancedmoments.com. We also have some support for you as well through our company. We have Thoughtful Connections, a memory care podcast. If you've never done a podcast before, it's okay. I'm fairly new to podcasts myself within the last 5 years. And so someone at the community would be able to help you get this podcast on your phone. Super easy. They can help you navigate. There are over 58 episodes, I believe now. Each podcast, which is just a recording of myself and a gentleman named Charlie, and we're just talking about different topics that are related to brain health and dementia. But they're super easy to listen to. Each one is no more than 20 minutes long, and they're simple to understand. We don't use a lot of clinical lingo, so it's very easy for you to understand. But it's a great way to learn more about keeping your brain healthy and more about dementia if you're needing to learn that as well. We also have a support group that takes place every single week. We call it our memory care support group, but it's really open to anyone who is needing some support around the world of dementia. Our licensed clinical social worker, Sandy McGatha, is the facilitator of this call. Again, it happens every week. It's Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the very last Tuesday of the month, it's at 6 p.m. Central Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Sandy is a wonderful human being who is so easy to talk to and just has a wealth of knowledge that can help you as you navigate this journey. So we thank you so much for listening to me today, and I hope this was beneficial. If you ever have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I love all things dementia, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Have a wonderful day.